From LALATE News headquarters in Santa Monica, this is Mornings LALATE.
It's a big morning of Mornings LA with incredible great news about your fourth stimulus check. In this recording, we go over how much you're getting in the fourth stimulus check, that monthly stimulus check, and the breaking news that's impacting it across the board. Then we turn to fifth stimulus and why fifth stimulus is getting even bigger than before. This is the increase of your SSI, SSDI, Social Security, railroad benefits, and veterans benefits. Then we go over the breaking news that's impacting both fourth and fifth stimulus today. Then the big money landing in your bank account, thousands of dollars coming automatically. And it's landing today. I have all the incredible great news. The toast is toasting, the butter is buttering. I'm here, you're here, and this is Friday's Mornings LALATE. Good morning, everybody. It's Mornings LA with incredible great news about your fourth stimulus check, your fifth stimulus package, and the big breaking news about thousands of dollars landing in your bank account in this morning and all throughout the day and next week as well. Incredible great news about this monthly fourth stimulus check in this recording and the breaking news that's happening across the land and impacting the stimulus right this morning. I have a lot of breaking news we're trying to get to in this video, but first, subscribe. This is LALATE, the only 24 hours a day, 7 days a week financial news channel. You don't want to miss a single recording across the board. Also, like this video and consider becoming a member. The link's at the top of the chat and in the pinned comment. Let's get to the breaking news starting right now. The fourth stimulus package heats up with that monthly stimulus check from both the House and the Senate proposal, but the House proposal is getting an interesting twist. Let's get to that twist right now. When we look at the fourth stimulus bill written by the House members, we need to circle that name, Jalapal. Jalapal is one of two individuals who wrote the fourth stimulus package bill for the House members. That's the monthly stimulus check. Jalapal wrote it as the following. Jalapal wrote it as a stimulus check coming for every month for the remainder of the pandemic plus 1 year. The senators do a stimulus check from July to December. Jalapal then wrote that there would be $2,000 the first month, $1,000 thereafter. The Senate amount is unknown on a monthly basis. If you're in the live chat just after 9 o'clock on the West Coast, 12 o'clock on the East Coast, is ready to vote, House or Senate? House or Senate? But before you vote, let's look at the monthly amount from the Senate. Wow. Word on the street is this is how much the senators would give you. $2,000 a month over 6 months, $12,000 an individual. Or $1,400 over 6 months, $8,400 an individual. Incredible great news. But now let's compare how Jalapal's proposal versus the Senate possibilities of numbers line up in view of the breaking details. The breaking details is that Jalapal provided an idea of stimulus checks for the remainder of the pandemic plus 1 year, but the Jalapal bill may get an interesting twist. That twist is that the pandemic may be over by the time the vote happens for the bill. The vote is likely to happen no later than July 4th. That's the representation of Leader Schumer and Nancy Pelosi. But here's what you need to know, is that the pandemic may be over in a matter of a few days. If not, it's already over. While the pandemic itself may be continuing for the virus for legislative purposes, it may have already ended. Today, New York welcomed its first new park since 2020. And that park featured people walking around with no masks. Business is back to normal. People eating indoors. Because the mask mandate was lifted by the CDC a week ago. And now states across the country have ended the mask mandate and businesses as well. Which signals potentially the House proposal would not give pandemic plus 1 year, just 1 year. Which is $13,000 or 12 months of stimulus checks compared to the Senate proposal, nearly the same amount over half the amount of time, 6 months. So now if you're in the live chat, say which one you vote for. Senate or House, Senate for House, vote across the board. I want to see your comments. But what's important to understand is that there's a lot more at play in that fourth stimulus. Let's go over the great news starting right now. It's a monthly stimulus check starting the month of July. Who gets it? You do. So if you got the fourth stimulus check, if you got the third stimulus check, you would get the fourth. If you're on SSI, SSDI, Social Security, railroad benefits, you would get the fourth stimulus check. Single individuals, you would get the fourth stimulus check. Married couples, $150,000 or less, you would get the fourth stimulus check. And yes, if you're a household of four or less, you would get the fourth stimulus check. Just quadruple it. Married couple, double it. Incredible, great news. Is it income? No, it's not income. Is it taxable? No, it's not taxable. And when would it land? Remember, I'm a reporter. I just report the news. I don't make the representations. But there would be a stimulus check coming in the month of July because the vote would be in the month of July. Check for July in July, August in August, and away we go. Incredible, great news. And that's your fourth stimulus check updated 2021. But I have big breaking news still happening later in this recording about what's going on Wall Street that impacts fourth stimulus, what's happening in the White House that impacts fourth stimulus today, and what's happening with Jalopal this week that impacts the vote potentially earlier than anticipated. Wow, incredible, great news. Stay with me, but in the second half of this recording, I'm going to be going over the fifth stimulus package. That is the raising of your benefits up if you're on SSI, SSDI, Social Security, and rail benefits, and the tying it to inflation. In this recording, I'm going to go over why the inflation rate may be higher and your benefits may get double boosts. It's incredible, great news. So stay with me to the second half of this recording. But first, get a pen and paper ready because I got a lot of money to give you and a lot of information over this 30-minute show. So get that pen and paper ready because we're going to get to it starting right now. There's tens of thousands of dollars available for you under the third stimulus package. And when it was passed in January, I informed you that there would be $5,000 to $25,000 of money available for you in addition to a third stimulus check. We're not tracking stimulus checks on this channel. We don't do that. Check after check, we don't do that. We cash checks. And there's now $5,000 to $25,000 available for you that's landing across the board. $350 billion has landed in cities, counties, and states for rent. And let's get it starting right now. There's about $5,000 of rent for you, about 46 months of rent and utilities, and homeowners mortgage assistance, and homeowners utility help. And you need to get it. Where do you get it? Get that pen and paper ready. Let's do it. First, City Hall, City Housing Authority. County Hall, County Housing Authority. State Hall, State Housing Authority. Reach out to them and say rent assistance because of COVID. Don't say a stimulus. You could say Economic Recovery Act or Biden Economic Recovery Act. Incredible, great news. Every city and county and state has a different eligibility criterion, so you may get a no at one place, but a yes somewhere else. So go get it. It's first come, first serve. Now let's turn to the other incredible great news, which is money for SNAP. What's SNAP? It is food. How do you get it? Department of Agriculture. Or call 211 and ask for Department of Agriculture. How much money does it pay? A lot. Upwards of $16,000 for a family of four from Hawaii. Wow. Why so much money? Because of two executive orders, one from Biden and one from Trump that raised it 15% over 1 year. Wow. So look at this. We're only 8 minutes into this video and we've gotten already money for rent, $5,000, and money for SNAP, $16,000. We ain't done there yet. We ain't done there yet. But here is three major reality check moments, tough love moments starting right now. Number one, I want you to get this money for rent and utilities and homeowners assistance because it's first come, first serve. When third stimulus came out, I told you that you have to be a purple hawk, and get that money before anyone else because it's first come, first serve. There'll be a stimulus stampede, as I said, where people are going to rush to get the money. Tough love or reality check number two, which is the following, that the money's not going to be there forever. And because it's not coming back under fourth stimulus. When fourth stimulus goes to a vote, you will not see any more rent stimulus or homeowners assistance or any type of stimulus like this. The eviction moratorium is going away. The mortgage forbearance is going away. Why? Democrats did not want to extend it. Their notion was give you money for rent now, get you caught up on your rent now, so that landlords and you are put back to whole at the end of the pandemic now. And as we come out of the pandemic, they could lift the eviction moratorium and the mortgage forbearance. So get that money right now. That brings us to great news as two great sums of money are landing today, next week, and started landing last week. So let's go over that incredible great news. First, money from your state. I'm going to go over how much, how you get it, and when you get it. First, how much? It's thousands of dollars. One viewer reports getting upwards of $5,000. Let's go over the details. The federal government has stepped in and ordered states to return thousands of dollars back to you, where states had overpaid you unemployment benefits and then said they had a computer malfeasance to return it back to them, and you did. Well, the federal government said that was a mistake. So how much? If the state had overpaid you unemployment benefits and you returned it back to them, you are now owed that money back. It's thousands of dollars. Incredible, great news. Next, how are you going to get it? In the bank account that you have on file with your state unemployment office. Finally, when are you going to get it? Every state is different, so reach out to your individual state for routing. States have already started to pay out the money, but some states could be slower. All right, let's turn to the next great sum of money, and it's coming from the federal government. Let's go over how much it is, how you're going to get it, and also when you're going to get it. First, how much is it? It's thousands of dollars. It is the money you paid on taxes for your unemployment benefits in 2020. Let's go over an example. Let's say you had a $9,000 of unemployment last year. You paid a $5,000 tax bill over your entire tax bill, of which $4,000 was taxes on your unemployment benefits. Guess how much you're getting back? $4,000. Congratulations. Next, how are you going to get it? In the mail. The only case in which it's not in the mail would be direct deposit because it was listed on your 2020 tax return. In the mail, you'll see a beige or white envelope. In there, a beige check written from Treasury or IRS, and the subject line is refund. Finally, when are you going to get it? 3 phases, phase 1, phase 2, and phase 3. Who and where are phase 1, 2, and 3? They're all going to get paid by the end of May. Let me go over each of them. Phase 1 is single filers, no dependents, no other refunds. You're getting paid already this week, starting last week. You should be paid by the end of this week. Phase 2 starts today and goes into next week. This is single filers with more complicated returns, with dependents, or other refunds on their tax return. Phase 3 is the last week of May. Joint filers like husband and wife. Incredible, great news. And viewers have already reported getting about $2,000, $3,000 already back. So congratulations to those viewers. Well, there you go. Now let's turn to the big, exciting breaking news across the board. Some breaking this morning that impacts your forced stimulus, some that was breaking yesterday, and things that could still happen next week. The first item that's really surprising this morning is a new thing that came out of the White House and Treasury. The White House and Treasury will support forced stimulus with the corporate tax rate change. The incredible great news about that 2 weeks ago was that the president said deal. He's doing a deal on it. That was the only potentially divisive issue among Democrats, was that the current tax rate is 21%. The president had proposed 28 or 29%. Moderate Democrats said no, 25%, and he said deal. Well, the breaking news this morning is that foreign countries are responding positively to Janet Yellen's push to do a global minimum tax rate. And we're now seeing the actual number, which we hadn't heard of until today. The global proposed minimum tax rate is 15%, which is lower than a respective country's tax rate. It's just to say to prevent countries or to prevent companies in the United States leaving the United States for a 25% tax rate to go to another country that may be 5%. So the proposed global tax rate minimum is 15%. Countries have already come out and supported this morning. And they said, this is a really big, great progress. Now, this morning, I'm very happy, says Germany's finance minister. I'm happy that it looks very much like we have a solution this summer. And the new administration in the United States is making a difference because it's feasible to do this. That means that smaller countries will not have to do 15% because they cannot meet it. But it also signals that it will not impact your forced stimulus negatively, and by all accounts, positively helps it. Also making news this morning is the surprising developing details about forced stimulus for purposes of the vote. The vote heated up with questions this week when suggestions circulated that perhaps the vote could come in June. Leader Schumer and Nancy Pelosi have indicated the vote would be no later than July 4th. And the president has signaled he is done with any bipartisan negotiations by end of Memorial Day, which is late May. So could the vote come in June? Viewers are now questioning that great possibility, which would mean an extra month of stimulus checks. It started with Jalapal. Yes, that name again. Jalapal wrote this letter this week in which Jalopal said to Leader Schumer and Speaker Pelosi, the recipients of the letter, call the vote. That's basically all the letter says. Call the vote. We've been writing the two-step, two-bill, two-month process, the reconciliation bills, and they're done practically. Call the vote. Why are we waiting for Republicans? Incredible great news. If there is no more waiting, could we get checks out in June? We shall see. There are a series of quotes that came out this week where Democrats, both House and Senate, said there should be no more waiting. We should just call the vote now. They came from Senator Kristen Gillibrand, Democrat out of New York. Should we wait on the vote? Absolutely not, because we may lose our coalition for human infrastructure. I do not think the White House should relegate recovery of the judgment of Mitch McConnell to the judgment of Mitch McConnell, because Mitch will not function in good faith. So I just think it's terrible political misstep. And then Representative Ruben Gallego, Democrat out of Arizona, said Republicans are not even being players, and we Democrats should move forward without the Republicans. He says it's no reason to wait another minute for the Republicans. Then came the news as well from Representative Mark Pocan, who said, at what point do Republicans seriously come to the table? If Republicans don't come to the table, it doesn't mean that Democrats don't serve the meal. The meal is your forced stimulus. And finally, Senator Majority Whip Dick Durbin, Democrat out of Illinois, who's a senator, said Democrats ought to have a timely negotiation with Republicans, but Democrats need to do the reconciliation process and finish it. And finally, Ro Khanna, the Democratic representative out of California, says, I think we should move forward with our bill and get the vote done. So incredible great news. Could the vote happen in June? Here's what you need to know. Is the President of the United States has made a clear line in the sand, and his line in the sand is the following: that he'll continue to have meetings with Republicans up until Memorial Day, which one person said, that's September. Why September? No, Memorial Day is May. That's Labor Day. Memorial Day is May. So the president said he'll continue to have meetings with Republicans, but the president has made very clear that he is not holding up the reconciliation process. The legislators have made very clear they're ready to call the vote once that Memorial Day comes, because the president wants to have meetings, have lunch literally every day. Say, hi, how are you, Republicans? Same price. Okay, no deal. See you tomorrow. Another day. How are you? Oh, no deal. Okay, see you tomorrow. And he'll continue to do that all the way up to Memorial Day for purposes of optics. He wants to look like he's making the last-ditch effort. But Republicans along the line have never changed their price offer since day one, staying at $500 billion. That means that the reconciliation, two-step, two-bill, two-month process is nearly ready for a vote among the legislators. They're just waiting for the optics to end around Memorial Day. So could the vote happen in June? Wow, incredible great news. Also incredible great news is the volunteers. They're viewers just like you, and they've stepped forward to help you get the rent, utilities, mortgage assistance, and also internet. If you're having problems finding it, reach out to them. Where is the community page? The community page is in the description to this video. Open the description of this video. Look for the emoji of a house and then the link to the community page. It's news.lalate.com/community. It sends you to a web page. On that web page is a picture of some cats. And on that web page are the volunteers. They're separated from Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram. Reach out to them. They can help you get rent, utilities, mortgage assistance, and also internet, if you cannot find it as well. And guess what? I'll be back after the commercial break with big more news about the fourth stimulus, the fifth stimulus, and also what's happening across the land that it could impact your stimulus. Stay with LALATE for more. If you want money right now, not 5 days from now, and not 5 weeks from now, then reach out to the community page. The volunteers can help you find that money for rent and utilities. That's at news.lalate.com/community. The community page features a series of volunteers who are viewers like you. They can help you find rent, utilities, SNAP, food benefits, mortgage assistance, and help you with eviction moratorium questions as well. Their Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram individuals reach out to them and indicate the city and state you're from, and they'll get back to you shortly. That's a community page. Volunteers working for you, viewers helping one another. Stay with LA for more. Join LALATE Daily for the excitement of the new LALATE live daily. The excitement starts on Mornings LALATE at 9 a.m. home. LALATE returns at 11 a.m. daily. And then afternoons LALATE at 1 p.m. Join us daily as the excitement continues live from Santa Monica on LALATE. And the excitement continues right now on Mornings LALATE. The toast is toasting, the butter is buttering. I'm here, you're here, but the bacon's missing. It's always missing the bacon. How are you? Where are you tuning in from? I'm here in Los Angeles. The weather is quite sunny, as you can notice this morning. It's cool, but it's sunny. How's the weather where you are tuning in? Tell me where you're tuning in from. This is LALATE, the only 24-hour day, 7 days a week financial news channel. I want you to subscribe right now. 400,000 subscribers, a YouTube record, on our way to 1 million. 400,000 in 1 year. We're heading to 1 million year 2, so get us there. Subscribe right now. Also like this video. If you're in the live chat, make sure you hit that like button. Don't forget to like when you're coming in and like when you're going out. And if you're watching a tape, like the video as well. And consider becoming a member. Purple Hawk, Purple Power, Calcino VIP. The link's at the top of the chat and in the pinned comment. It's important to become a member because the fifth stimulus has a lot of other items in there. There is in the fifth stimulus money for single individuals, for hazard pay. There is money in there for seniors, for lower medical costs. There's money in there for individuals, young and old. And while the president may call it one particular package, there's a lot of other great stuff in there. And that fifth stimulus package is delivered to you along with the Jalapal letter and all these other big, incredible details in the daily PDFs delivered to members. All right, let's get to fifth stimulus and the incredible great news about fifth stimulus and what's breaking today across the land. Fifth stimulus is a two-bill, two-step, two-month process, just like fourth stimulus. Instead of adding monthly stimulus checks in there, they add in their SSI and SSDI. Let's go over the incredible great details starting right now. So they will increase your benefit limits, remove the asset limit, add inflationary benchmark, remove the income exclusion, and remove the marriage penalty. All right, let's go over the breaking details starting right now and how this plays out. First, they'll raise your benefits. Who's you? You. So if you're on SSI, SSDI, Social Security, railroad benefits, and veterans benefits, they'll raise your benefits up one big amount across the board. Great news. Then they'll tie in a benchmark, and the new benchmark will be inflation. What's a benchmark? Every December, you get a letter that says, hi, next year your benefits will go up this, or they say your benefits will not go up. That's the benchmark. Your new benchmark would be inflation, a brand new benchmark of inflation. And as inflation goes up, your benefits go up. A benchmark only stays flat or goes up. It never steps down. So let's say, for example, when we were looking at Jeremy Siegel's report a week ago today, he said he thinks inflation in December will go to 20%. Wow. If it's 20%, like Siegel says, then your benefits would jump up, would be lifted up on the fifth stimulus, and then go up another 20% next year. Incredible great news, and they would never step down. Now, if Siegel may not be right at 20%, so let's look at see what we see today and what we saw this week of other potentials for the inflationary rate. We saw from the head of the Federal Reserve out of Georgia that he would not tell us his inflationary prediction, but he would show us his growth prediction. He currently shows the U.S. economy growing at 4%, but he thinks in December it'll grow at 10%. Well, that ain't 2% inflation. That's upward of 5 or 6% inflation. Yesterday, one leading economist appeared on broadcast news, and another one repeated much the same today, that they think the inflationary rate will be somewhere between 5 to 7% in December, that it's not going to be at 2%. This would be incredible great news for you and your benefits, because let's say it's 5%. Your benefits would be raised under fifth stimulus and then raised up another 5% next year, and you would never step down. So if the year after that it's another 1%, you'd step up another 1%. Incredible great news. Then let's go over what else is in fifth stimulus. They're going to remove the asset cap, dating back to a 1980s law that says you can't stay on benefits. They'll stay on benefits and have more than about $3,000 in the bank account. They'll remove that just in time for you to get those stimulus checks. Then they would remove the income cap, dating back to a 1960s law that says you can't stay on benefits and also receive income. So if you want to work, you don't have to, but if you want to work, you could work $1,000, $2,000 a month and still receive benefits. And finally, the marriage penalty, which penalizes you for getting married and disqualifies you from benefits. It would go away. So if you're married, you would get benefits. And if you're going to get married, you would not lose benefits. Love would win, and you would be able to marry your lifetime partner and not lose benefits. Incredible, great news. So that's fifth stimulus. When would fifth stimulus heat up? It's a two-bill, two-step, two-month process starting September out the door, about October. So likely to see the benefits hit your account in November. And of course, the step up would, the inflationary benchmark would kick in next January. Incredible, great news across the board. So what else is happening this morning that's important for understanding the impact on your fourth stimulus check? Number one is the Treasury yields continue to remain relatively calm, which is good. The 10-year Treasury note, which is tied to inflation, you don't want it to get too hyperactive because it could downturn the economy, confuse the situation for fourth stimulus. So it remains relatively calm. 1.68 much of today, but we're waiting for some two new numbers coming out. One is coming, or may have just come out. Oh, one is coming out in 5 minutes from now. So after you finish watching me, you can go find that number. The May market PMI, which tracks economic trends in manufacturing and services, comes out in 5 minutes from now. And then the existing home sales data for April comes out in a few minutes after that. Those are economic data which will show how strong the economy is growing or not growing. We learned this week that the home sales dropped the biggest drop in 1 month in nearly 15 years because the commodity prices have still not come down. They're starting to come down. They're still not coming down. Like lumber, copper, those are commodity prices that are derailing home building. Meantime, some viewers have asked me about FPUC. A new report this morning, breaking news this morning, says don't expect any good news about FPUC. So here's what's at issue. FPUC is an elective process where states may elect to offer FPUC. FPUC is the federal add-on of $300 on top of your UI and PUA. And states may do it or may not do it. It's just like LWA, which I covered last year when it went live. States, some did it, some didn't do it, some did it early, some did late, some stopped it early. And it's the same thing with FPUC. States now, upwards of 20 states where the governors are Republicans, have ended or are ending FPUC early. States may elect to do FPUC or may elect not to do FPUC. And I've told viewers that there's no way around it. Well, today we are going to learn much apparently the same because the White House's legal team has dispatched Department of Labor's legal affairs to look at whether they can force states to continue to do the elective voluntary FPUC. And the letter that's going to be released today is going to basically say, no, they can't force states to do it. If states don't want to do it, they don't have to do it. So what's important to understand going into noontime LA at 11 a.m. Pacific Standard Time today is that what I've been advising you and informing you is still correct. That when looking at fourth stimulus, the great news about fourth stimulus checks is that Republicans and Democrats understand the pandemic's ending or is ended or has ended, that people are back to work, but they're still not caught up in their bills. You may have a 9-to-5 job, but still not be caught up from those bills that were created by the pandemic. And the only way, the only instrument, the only stimulus instrument that does that gets you caught up in your bills is not rent stimulus, is not employment stimulus, but stimulus checks. Stimulus checks is the instrument that gets you caught up on those past due bills. And if we look at those stimulus checks, those monthly stimulus checks, that's why the Senate plan makes the most sense. If you're on the live chat and haven't voted, vote House or Senate. House or Senate, which one do you like? $2,000 a month over 6 months, $12,000 possible from the senators. Or $1,400 a month over 6 months, $8,400. If you're a married couple, double it. Household 4 or less, quadruple it. And that's why stimulus checks are getting incredible push, because they have the understanding now from legislators, both locally and nationally, that they are what gets you back to normal by relieving those debts, even though you may be working, even though you may be retired, even though you may be otherwise back to normal, you still have those debts. But unemployment stimulus is going away. PUA, FPUC, and PEUC are going away. They're not coming back under fourth stimulus. Ron Wyden has a standalone bill to restore FPUA lifetime as a different instrument with a new name, because it's not going to be stimulus. It's just going to say, hey, If you're an Uber Lyft driver and you're out of work next year, there's no relief for you because you're not a W-2. He wants you to have relief, and so he has introduced a standalone bill to replace PUA. It's great news. But otherwise, FPUC and unemployment stimulus is going away. Meantime, rental stimulus, like rent eviction moratorium and mortgage forbearance, also going away. That's why it's important for you to get that money recorded in this video. In this recorded video, we went over 4 stimulus, the monthly stimulus check, starting the month of July, unless they potentially get to it a month earlier. Very exciting news. We went over 5th stimulus that hits in the fall, that raising your benefits that will track how much the step up will be for inflation as we learn more about where inflation may be by December. Because remember, it's not today's inflation, it's December's inflation. And then in the middle of the recording, we went over the big money coming from your state and your federal government automatic, and the other money you need to get right now because it's fortunes. It's yours. And it's also the biggest payout you see in the history of this channel. Coming up next is Noontime LALATE. So stay informed, stay focused. If you've not subscribed, subscribe right now. Like this video, consider becoming a member. Purple Hawk, Purple Power, Calcino VIP. And stay this morning as we continue with Noontime LALATE at 11 a.m. Stay positive, stay focused, and stay here with LALATE for more.